The world would have us believe success is the car you drive, the home you live in, how many millions are sitting in the bank account. And I think it's crucial for everyone. If they're going to go down this route of entrepreneurship, please don't go off the world's definition of success, because it's going to lead you in a very empty race that you're going to be racing forever.
All right, welcome to another episode of the Deeper the Dope podcast. I have Cody. I forgot to ask you how to pronounce your last name, so I'll start over.
Hofhine, my friend. Hofhine.
All right, welcome to another episode of the Deeper the Dope podcast. I got Cody Hofhine. I got it right?
You got it right.
From Joe Homebuyer, who was connected to me by one of your franchisees, Devin.
Yeah, Devin
is the man. I love that dude. So anyways, thank you, Cody, for taking the time to join me.
Hey, it's an honor to be here. Thank you for having me. I love people that I love the direction of your podcast first and foremost. So it's an honor to be here, and I hope I can add some value.
Awesome. And we just discovered a minute ago that we live 20 minutes away from each other. We just scheduled it in person, whatever. It's fun. Looks like you're at your office. I'm in my home. I got my kid playing over there. So we'll see if he comes in here.
Hey, that's the life of an entrepreneur. You gotta roll with the punches, my friend.
Yes. Cody, can we start with a minute or two of your background?
Yeah. Really, I'll break it down, and then please feel free to stop me if I start going too far. But married to my wife, 19 years. We have 4 kids: 15-year-old, 13-year-old, 10, and 6. It went boy, girl, boy, girl. Entrepreneurial blood in me since birth. I feel like my dad was an entrepreneur. He was a general contractor and did fairly well for himself. And I got to work for him and also get to learn from him and my mom, for that matter. And it was hard the day I had to tell him I'm no longer working for him and now starting up my own business. The first stab at it was just insurance, of all things. And man, was it rough. First year I made $19,000. I questioned why in the heck did I even do this? This was really hard. But when then you start to see, like, what's that?
When was that? Were you married at the time or single?
Oh yeah. This is married and 2 kids, my friend. 19,000. You know, this does not work. You said you have kids in the background. 19,000 does not work. And it didn't work for us, but we're God believing people. And there was just some incredible things that happened during that time anyways, where we never told anyone we were poor. We never told anyone we didn't have money. But people somehow felt it. And they would come over and visit us and bring us like shakes and things like that. And taped to the bottom would be these like $100 bills. And it happened to be the amount of money we needed to get through that month. And we learned from great people. God's placed me in the life, put me side by side with people in my life that I'm like, wow. I can see why I needed to go through this process so I could have this learning experience from great people that, hey, one day when I have money, I want to do what this gentleman did for me and my family. That's awesome. So little things like that. And so when you look hindsight, I never looked at it as pity me that I made 19,000. I looked at it as what can I learn from it? And we learned a lot from it. And so it was the entrepreneurial journey is not anything easy, but it has been absolutely worth it. And if you let it, it will teach you some of the greatest lessons you can learn in life.
Yes, I love that. 19,000 a year. So when I did my first business, I was leading sales and I had made some money and I had to invest a few $100,000. And I was like, multiple times, I'm going to lose it all. And then I thought, well, how much would it cost me? And not just money, but also time if I went to Harvard Business School, right? So you making 19,000 is probably still a better learning experience than you making 19,000 and paying a $50,000 a year tuition or whatever the costs are too. So anyways, I think it's crazy how much people pay. I think it's necessary for a lot of people in the right path, but making $19,000 a year running your own business, I'm going to argue is the better and more, you're going to gain more experience and it's going to be a low cost. So anyway.
Absolutely. And it helped me redefine success, right? The world would have us believe success is the car you drive, the home you live in, how many millions are sitting in the bank account. And I think it's crucial for everyone. If they're going to go down this route of entrepreneurship, please don't go off the world's definition of success, because it's going to lead you in a very empty race that you're going to be racing forever. So success for me was not that. It was really, me and my wife, we come back to this all the time, is we try to remind ourselves each and every day, this life is just to become the best version of ourselves. It's nothing more than that. It's nothing less than that. It's not if I can exit at some point and sell a company for 50 million, or if I lost 200 million. At the end of the day, it's did I become a better version of myself? And so that's my definition of success, is at the end of the day, I can experience success daily versus some pinnacle where it's a destination. It's like, it's not a destination. I can experience it today by just becoming someone better.
And that's literally nails it on the head. That's what we're trying to accomplish with the podcast. What led you up to that? And I also preface by saying, I don't use the world's definition of success because it'll lead you to whatever you said, that, this never ending rat race. How did you kind of snap out of that and see, hey, I don't want the fancy cars, XYZ, and I'm going to actually take time to think about my version of success, internalize it, and then live it?
Yeah, I wish I could say I learned from just because I just learned. I learned because I failed. I learned because this was probably a little more than a handful of years ago. I wanted a Porsche. I thought, man, how cool would it be to have a Porsche? And I didn't buy it. Now, let me make sure I'm crystal clear. If you go to my Instagram, you'll never see anything flashy on my Instagram. I don't buy things to show the world like, oh man, look at me, I'm so cool. I don't do that. I just wanted it for me. Nevertheless, I bought this thing. It was the 2016 Spider, the Boxster. It's a 2-seater. I've got 4 kids and a wife. Like, at the end of the day, I could take one person with me. They couldn't eat anything in it. They couldn't drink anything in it because it's a Porsche. You just don't drink and eat in Porsches. And it's not practical. And then when they wanted to go outside and ride their bikes, I'm like, hold on. I'll get your bike out for you. And I just sat there. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing? And I had this reality like slap me right in the face. Like, come on, man. Like, why do you own this car? Now, I don't knock anyone that owns that car, by the way. For me, this was a great learning for me that, Cody, you don't need this car. So I sold it. I lost like $4 or $5 grand on the transaction. And it was the greatest $4 grand, $5 grand I've ever lost, because it brought me back to, Cody, you don't need that stuff. I'm not saying people that have that stuff isn't humble, but for me, it doesn't it feeds my pride. It feeds my ego. And so for those that can drive those things and it doesn't feed their pride and ego, kudos to you. That's awesome. But for me, I know myself, and it's like, I don't need that. And I don't need that to feel special. I don't need that to help me perform at a high level. I'm very driven. I don't need cars to drive me. But if some people say, hey, it helps them because it helps them perform better, great. So be it. I didn't feel that. And so I learned this, Bennett, because I flopped on my face and I bought a car that I shouldn't have never owned, to be completely honest.
I like that. That's really cool that you had that experience, though, because otherwise it's, most of us are, I'm going to be happier when I'm going to spend more time with my family, when I'm going to spend more time with my kids, when, and that when never gets achieved. When I make my first million, when my business hits 10 million, when I sell X amount of franchises, yada, yada, and you just keep going. So that's really cool. I have a Tesla. I've been waiting for that stupid Cybertruck forever. And then last year, right before they lowered the price like 40 grand, I pulled the trigger on the Model X, the Plaid, and it's great. It is a practical car because all my family fits in it, the doors and everything. It's got a TV, so we take it all the time. I was driving on the freeway. Somebody in front of me had something fell out of the car, like a piece of plywood, not plywood, sheetrock. Hit the front of the Tesla, just destroyed it. It took over a month to fix it. And in that month, I borrowed my sister's old truck. And I realized going from a car that goes 2.5 seconds to a truck that has no cameras and I can't even see over because I'm freaking short, made no difference in my life other than teaching me, oh, I don't need a freaking, like, who cares if it literally makes no difference in my life. So that was something that just happened this last summer. And I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but no matter how good the business is or how bad, you're all, for me, I always go to kind of worst case scenario. Like, And for this one specifically, I was like, if I failed, and I've never posted about a Tesla plot. Nobody knows that other than my friends. But I'm like, if for whatever reason I had to get rid of my car, I feel like people are just going to view me as a failure. And then I'm like, anyways, I got to let go of that when I was like, oh, it doesn't care. It doesn't matter to me. I don't think it really matters to anybody else. But I was kind of carrying that for a while until I got rid of the Tesla. I was like, oh, I don't freaking need this. Nobody cares. But anyways, that was something else that I just went through involving cars. So that's interesting. Talk to me about Joe Homebuyer. How long have you been doing that? And dive into where you guys are at with Joe Homebuyer.
It's probably the same story that you get. It's like Dirty Dough is an overnight success that took 15 years, right? What people don't realize is the backstory. Joe Homebuyer really is the result of these flops and fails and learning along the way. And so I'd say Joe Homebuyer, in my mind, started in 2010 when I started this insurance company. But physical actual draft date of Joe Homebuyer is 2020. And it's a result of my business partner, Mark Stubler, and I. We got together in 2015. He was working for a vinyl fence company selling vinyl fencing, and he did fantastic. Made a great wage that anyone would be proud to have in America. I was doing insurance now about 5 years into it. So it's starting to get to the point where there's some residual and some things to finally wow, I can finally make a mortgage payment. It was getting to that point, but I was like, man, I'm not excited about selling insurance. There's nothing fun about it. Nothing woke me up and I'm like, I get to sell an auto policy today. This is so amazing. Nothing. And so I was insuring, and this is again, going back to seeing how these steps all line together and keep pushing you along the road as long as you allow it. I was insuring all these fix and flip investors in Utah. In fact, probably the most investors in the state of Utah I insured in my agency. And so I was learning from them. Let me take that back. I was insuring them because I'm like, they're going to have a lot of rentals, a lot of nice cars, a lot of nice homes. So this is why I want them. That was the original mindset, was to build my portfolio of insurance. And then I'd go to these meetings and I wouldn't even listen to them saying, hey, I just flipped this house and I made $80,000, or I just wholesaled this home and I made 20 grand. I didn't even listen. It was just like, oh man, that guy's got 2 rentals. I got to talk to him after so I can insure him. That's all I heard. So 2015, I have a life-changing moment again. I come home early because you have to kind of grind in insurance. It's not easy. It's not for the faint of heart. And so I get home early. My wife's thinking I'm going to work till 5. I'm at home at 2 and she's crying at the table. And I walk up to her and I'm just like, sweetheart, what's wrong? Like, what happened? And it's crying enough that mascara is like, it's like raccoon eyes. It's gone down. And she finally looks up and she's like, do we pay the mortgage this month, or do we put food on the table so our family can eat tonight? And I'm just like, I had no idea it's this bad. Like, here I am, smiley Cody, just going out to work. And she didn't make me feel bad that day. I felt it myself. It's not a coincidence that the next day I'm at this local real estate investor association meeting that I go to religiously every month just to find investors to insure their policies. That's it. But a guy stands up and he shares this story of how he just found a home. He didn't end up buying it himself. He wholesaled it to another investor and made 20 grand. I'm just like, whoa. Like, in 3 days, made 20 grand. I made 19 in 365 days, my first year in insurance. Like, this is completely different. This is radical. But I insured his stuff, so I trusted this guy. Ultimately, I get into real estate from that day forward saying, this is it. Like, I can feel something different, a different energy about this. I'm getting into this. And then kind of fast forward 39 days after that day, I ended up actually doing my first wholesale deal. And it paid me $24,000. And I just remember pinching myself thinking, not only did it happen, it just happened to Cody Hofhine. Like, this is amazing. So it started in 2015. I tell Mark, you got to leave Best Vinyl. You've got to do this. Like, you've got to try this. Like, quit working for people. Come try this. And he starts trying it, does a couple deals. January 1st of 2016, we become business partners and we end up gaining a ton of market share here in Utah. And we're one of those people that when something's special, I feel like you're the same person. When something's special, if I have a shirt that I like this is a built shirt and I'm like, oh, I love this shirt. And whoever I talk to, I'm like, dude, Bennett, you've got to try this shirt. And Bennett will be wearing the shirt the next day because I'm passionate about when I find something I love, I share it with everyone. So Mark, half of Mark's wardrobe, my business partner, is literally the stuff that I wear because I'm like, oh, dude, you got to try these pants. These pants are amazing. All of a sudden, like a month later, he's wearing those pants. I feel it's the same obligation and blessing with the talents and gifts that each one of us have. And when we had something that was uniquely blessing my life and my family's life, Mark's family's life, and it was like a huge impact for good for our families, I was like, we can't keep this in. We got to let people know about this. So we had coaching. I had co-founded a company called Wholesaling Inc. And we ended up coaching a ton of people. And it's one of the largest coaching programs. I sold that in 2020 because it was like, you help people get the first deal. And it was kind of like, it was over. You'd never see them again. And I didn't like that. I wanted to grow something special, a culture, a family, a community where we can continue to work with each other. And Joe Homebuyer was born in 2020 and we franchised it. And fast forward, just to quickly say, we're about 95 franchise territories throughout the nation. And it's been absolute an honor to share what works with us with the world and then grow this incredible culture and this incredible family, much like you've done across this great nation with Dirty Dough. Like it's impressive knowing your story. We're trying to do the same thing is just grow our brand with great people and bless their lives like it's blessed ours.
I mean, Devin raves about it. Again, the guy that connects us, that's one of your franchisees. He's like, not only raves about the franchise and him being very successful in it, but the mentorship and the family feel that he feels from you. And I assume your partner as well. But he's like, he's like, you got to meet these guys. They are the best. And dang it, I didn't know you're 20 minutes away from me, but we will definitely meet up.
We'll get together. Don't worry about that. We'll get together.
2010, you started your insurance. You ran that for 5 years. Then you started wholesaling. You did that for 5 years, wholesaling plus the coaching, and you wanted to make a shift. And I mean, a big part of what drives me as well is, we did the mission statement. I did the mission statement to find joy and fulfillment despite life's darkness. How do you find joy and fulfillment now rather than waiting for life to be perfect? And then building that off of 2 pillars. One is mental health or mindset. So I think you need that for the joy and fulfillment. And then one thing that's brought me a lot of joy and fulfillment is entrepreneurship. So how do you help other people be entrepreneurs and lower that barrier of the barrier of entry to entrepreneurship? So I think a lot of that is the same. And I think it's also required for you to keep going because, man, it gets so freaking hard. And it's like, what's your why? What's your why? Everything was perfect. What would you be doing? And it's easy to fall back on. I would probably be trying to help as many people as possible find more joy and fulfillment through mental health and entrepreneurship. I'm like, oh crap, I'm already doing that. May as well enjoy it. So I really like that because for me, it does give, I relate to that fulfillment piece, like helping somebody else empower themselves through entrepreneurship. So that was 2020. You guys filed your franchise documents. Now you guys are up to 95 franchises all throughout the nation. What does the franchise opportunity look like with Joe Homebuyer? As far as, just jump.
Yeah, go for it. Ask. I want to know exactly what direction you want me to go.
I don't even know. I'm like, I think franchising, I'm still so new to this. I found out what a franchisor versus franchisee was 3 years ago, right? But I think McDonald's and I think food, and that's what I meant. So like service-based franchises, I'm always interested to know how they work. Like, I think on Monday I interviewed somebody else. They do tiny home franchises. And it's how to build a franchise based off of building AUDs or whatever they're called, additional dwelling units in people's backyards. They built the whole franchise. They did like 100 million in sales there after just a few years. Like, what the freak? Anyways, love to. How does the Joe Homebuyer? What is the franchisee getting? What are the fees they're paying? Royalties, marketing? How does it all work?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. If you can think of where most transactions are done, when you hear of people like the Robert Kiyosaki's, like the poster childs of real estate, they never really found on market deals. It's an off market system. So it's how do you go direct to the seller or direct to the homeowner so you can not per se bypass any real estate agents or anything. It's just most deals, once they hit the market, that's going to be your top end. That's going to be your top end. And they're usually the fixed up homes, the ones that are beautiful to just buy that retail. So me and you can go live in them. what we try to do is assist and help those, whether we can buy the deal or not. We're still going to do the best we can to serve each lead that we go out to, every potential homeowner, every potential seller, that they're coming to us with real-time problems. And we see this all across the nation. It's not just here in Utah. It's not just it's everywhere. And that is, people are really going through bankruptcy. People are going through divorces. People are going through, a landlord that owns a home and their tenant just smoked crack on the one side. I mean, these are real stories that we have. You inherit mom and dad who just recently passed away, their home, and then come to find out it needs $80,000 of rehab to even make it worthy of listing it on the MLS. These are the real-time problems that a lot of times they don't have the solution. We just had a individual call us last week saying, "Hey, I'm going through foreclosure and it's they're taking our house from us." And we're like, "When?" "On Friday." And we're like, "It's Tuesday." Like, this is not only the 11th hour, this is the 11th hour and 58 minutes. Like, this is crazy, but this is real. This is real. And we were able to serve this individual, help them actually catch them up and stop that foreclosure, and then buy their home and help them have a plan where instead of just taking away their home and they have nothing, where they're able to also walk away with some money to go move on to plan B. And so you're tapping into how to find these off-market deals, but more importantly, serve those that really are having a hard time being served in this economy that they're in. And then exit strategies are different. So you can simply wholesale it. So Bennett comes to me and says, "Hey, dude, I know you're finding great deals. Will you let me know about it?" I find a deal and I say, "Hey, Bennett, I found this deal for $100,000 and it's worth 200 when it's all fixed up. I'll sell it to you for 110. And I'm the wholesaler. I make $10,000. So there's a simple wholesale transaction. There's fix and flip. HGTV made that look beautiful. It's not as glamorous as it really is. But there's the fix and flip. So that you can beautify it, fix it up, and then put it back on the market. Or the real one that I really love is wealth building. And that is keeping the home for a long-term buy and hold, for a rental, so that you're actually getting passive income. You're actually taking them down the road of wealth building and net worth building, something that at one day they don't have to trade time for money. Money's now making them money. So that's kind of what they tap into. And we have a proven process system that helps them through all those exit strategies, and more importantly, the marketing on the front end to get those families to call them so that they can go serve them at a high level.
Okay. That's what I figured. That's awesome. You're training them, providing support, and then also the marketing and the lead flow structure. So somebody that doesn't have the experience jumps right in and has a playbook.
So the average Joe, my friend, the average Joe can do it.
Yes.
That's actually where it came from, was Joe Homebuyer, was any average Joe can do this.
That's awesome. And then what gave you guys, I guess, what would you attribute the rapid growth to? Are there other competitors in the space? Were you guys kind of the first? Lots of other competitors? Like, how do you go from 0 to 95 in 3 years?
Yeah, it comes with headaches. I know your story very well. I know it well enough to know that sometimes when a disruptor comes into the marketplace, you get turning heads, and sometimes those heads don't come nice at you. And so I'm aware of your story of how people just say, "Hey, they're going to have some of our success, so let's sue them. Let's kind of close them while they're small." And we had the same thing, Bennett. It's a monopoly. There's only one other franchise in this space, and it's a monopoly. And so we came in and we're like, let's do it the right way. Like, let's do it. Let's see if we can add some value to this marketplace and do it our way. And we're not needing 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 franchise locations. We just need to grow with the right people that keep this brand strong. And if we can help a certain number win at a level, I mean, it's good enough. It's fine. Like, it's great. Early on in the game, we just kept getting these letters served to us. So when we're talking entrepreneurship, when you have these big dreams and these big goals, most visionaries or most individuals that want to go out there and do something great are ridiculed before they're revered. And we got a lot of ridicule. We got a lot of that competition not liking us, coming in and thinking there's not a world where all of us can exist, and all of us are going actually after different avatars in the first place. And we started getting served these letters to try and shut us down, why we're small and why we're nothing. But we believe so much in our vision and our why that we just kept moving forward. And it all came to an end into our favor. And much like your story. And so here we are, 95 strong. And what I would say is kind of the people that are like with this big distraction that people hold in their pocket is they want this massive following. It's like, I want 100,000. Do you know how you do that? You do it one follower at a time and you just show your authentic self. And so we didn't grow this by like the 50s and the hundreds and things like that. And I think it gets to the point where momentum will start to shift, even where more come in every single month. But you just do it one at a time and just being so grateful that this first one came in. Now let's help this first one grow. And then word just starts buzzing. And then there's you got the broker relationships that we both have, but then it's like, how do we get to the point where people are starting to see this outside of the brokers, people that are already in the space that maybe have a cap of where they're at their business and they want to scale, but they just don't know how to do it. Now we're attracting those individuals. So we're on the right platform. So it's just very strategic on making sure our voice is heard, but more importantly, be open. Let everyone know what we're doing and how we do it. And you attract your people. And quite frankly, you eliminate the people that are like, they're crazy. I would never want to be part of that. And that's great. That's when I know my marketing did a great job, is when I can repel the people that shouldn't be here and attract the people that should be.
Yeah, there's very much a stigma of hold your cards close to your chest. I got some pretty good advice that it's like, well, even if it's a business idea that you haven't done or a business that you are doing, people have already thought about it. The reason that it hasn't been done or they're not doing it is because they're not executors, And I got that advice, and I attribute a lot of our franchise sales to, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing a year before we did it, and then we started doing it. And I get on podcasts and it's like, this is our price for cookie puff. This is how we produce it. This is how we get to the store. It's like it's full transparency. And then I do think that helps when people come in. You align with them better. And two, they know what they're getting into a little bit more. So I 100% agree with that transparency. You also mentioned that I know my why. So it sounded like, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but there was no why with the insurance. Maybe there was a why with the real estate wholesale coaching, and then Joe Homebuyer. Kind of walk me through right when you started Joe Homebuyer, did you sit down with your partner and say, what is our why? Did you do core values, mission statement, kind of all that jazz? Where, walk me through what you guys did and when you did it, and as well as incorporating advice for other people that either they already have a business and they don't have it really defined it well, or they're about to start a business.
Yeah, that's fantastic. It starts out nothing grand. It's not like me and Mark, our whys were the exact same. And I want everyone to understand this is okay. It served me and Mark. In fact, we still have whys that are opposite, but it's good. It's very good and healthy. And I'll tell you why. My why changed. There's highs and lows in our lives. And so I've had high moments. I've had low moments in my life. And my high moments, I'm like, oh man, this was incredible. This helped me become this person. And to the opposite, my low moments, I'm like, this helped me become a better person. And so my whys are tied to these pinnacle moments of highs and lows throughout my life. One of them, example, it's very prominent in like in the Utah state of a lot of people being Mormon, being in LDS culture. I grew up Mormon. I went on a 2-year mission to Honduras. I would call this a high in my life. I got to just fix my mind for 2 years on just serving people. This is it. Just serve people. Just serve people, serve people. It was the greatest 2 years. It was so fun. It was awesome. I was in Honduras. I was in a third world country that's scarier than crap. I would never go there unless I was a missionary. It was awesome. It was absolutely amazing. And it helped shape, mold, and form who I am today. And so I'm forever grateful for those 2 years because of who it made me when I came home. Because of that, one of my whys is there's a lot of 18-year-old, 19-year-olds that don't have money to be able to go and afford to go on a mission, but they want to go on a mission. They have a desire to go serve and do it, but they don't have the funds. One of my why is, let me know. I'll fund it. I'll take care of that. And so me and my wife monthly, we have people where we fund their missions because it was such a massive impact in my life. To a low, I lost my mom 2.5 years ago. It's still, I get chills when I do it. She was my rock. My mom was everything. And losing her was hard. I lost her to cancer. And the day she found out that she had cancer, she had 3 weeks to live. So this was quick. It wasn't dragged out. And that can be a blessing. Because of it, my dad still swings the hammer also. He's still there. He's 73 years old and he's still general contractor. So one of my whys is, why will I wake up and fight tooth and nail through a lawsuit that comes my way? Because it's not anything other than a ego lawsuit. It has nothing, no claims to it, no bite to it, just to see if we can just shut down so they can maintain the monopoly. Why will I fight tooth and nail? Because my dad's not retired yet. And I've been blessed with some gifts and talents that allow me and my family to have more than what we need. And now I can focus on outward and help other people. My dad's on that top of that list. So when we buy rentals, I take this money and I can set it aside and help pay my dad every single month to retire him. My in-laws, their income together will never retire them, ever. It'll be impossible. But again, I'm okay with, you guys are amazing people. We will retire you. We'll buy enough rentals to make sure you're retired as well. And so when I have these hardship moments, whether it's a lawsuit that came our way that shook our boats for a minute, it's like, no, my parents aren't retired, nor are my in-laws. And I've got too many 18-year-olds that need to go serve missions that don't have money. And that's what wakes me up every day. Now, it's different for Mark. He does do like some of that stuff as well, but it's different. His whys are different. And all of them are wholesome whys that allow us to wake up and say, I don't care what problem brings my way. I'll chew it and spit it out because my why is not fulfilled. And I'm waking up today with a smile on my face because I've got some 19-year-olds I got to send on missions, and I've got people I've got to retire. And there's more to my why. That's when life changed. It's no longer about me. I feel like I'm taken care of. It's now, how do I bless other people's lives and fulfill my why?
I love that. So I feel like everybody has that story. I want to be more successful. I want to make more money. And this is my why. And it always goes to helping other people. But a lot of times it doesn't end up happening because I need to make, you're a college. I need to go from making 20 grand to 50 grand. And then I can start helping. Then you make 50 grand. That's not that much. And you make 6 figures. And then you make 6 figures. You're like, I need to make more before I can help people. Walk me, I guess, was there, my advice in that, like with Dirty Dough, we have a nonprofit. We started it from day one and never turned down donating cookies to another nonprofit, things like that. And to be completely transparent, we're still raising money. We still haven't even pulled a profit, but we still have a nonprofit because I think if you wait, you will. It's the same thing with, if I'm going to delay my joy, satisfaction, fulfillment to this goal, I'm also going to delay helping others to this goal. So my advice is you just freaking start it. Even if it's you donate $1 or whatever you do. I guess speak to that. Did you wait till you guys were rolling in the millions and billions of dollars? And why did you not wait that long?
Yeah, we definitely don't wait. If you can't do it when you have nothing, your mindset grows with you. So if you don't do it when you don't have money, you won't do it when you do have money. This goes back to 2010 when we made 19 grand. One of my wife's brother was going on a mission. Her parents were going through a bankruptcy and they had no money to fund. They had enough money to kind of get them going. There was one item that was on the docket that he couldn't afford, and that was a bike for his mission. And me and Wendy said, hey, let's make it a promise. Like, let's promise to God ourselves and say, hey, as we win, others are going to win. And then this opportunity falls in our lap, right? It's like, hey, Ben doesn't have a bike and it's going to be $500. I looked at Wendy and said, we have $500 in our account. There's no coincidence. It's the exact same number. Let's test our faith. Let's try it. And Wendy was right on board. She's like, let's do it. So we did it. And it might've been a little bit of a shaking as we purchased it, but we did it. We absolutely did it. We went down to Mr. Mac, which is a Utah, normal for missionary suits and everything, attire. We would go down there and I would take these missionaries to go buy all their suits and ties and their shoes. And I would just swipe it on my credit card and say, okay, I'll figure out how to pay this off. There's times where I didn't have money. And the one time when it went from 500 to zero, 2 days later, a guy walks in my office and he says, I need my commercial policy quoted. I never quoted commercial. I've only quoted like auto, home, things of that nature. I quoted out with him in front of me, and it took like an hour. And this guy was so patient. He's just sitting there, and I'm on with the underwriter. What should I add here? What should I do here? Should I do this coverage, not this coverage? Hey, do you currently have this coverage? Going through the whole thing. At the end, it's like $23,000 for this policy. And I'm like, oh, like I sell $500 policies. I don't know how this guy's going to pay for $23,000. And I don't know if I'm even competent enough to tell him what this price is. But I said, hey, I don't know what your current coverage is, but here's our price. And he looks at it. He's like, you know what? Just watching you with the underwriter and doing this and seeing coverage that I currently don't have, but I do want. And then you beat my current price. Let's go with it. And I was just like, and we got like a 13 or 14% commission on it. Yeah. So I look at this $500 go out. 2 days later, a guy's walking coincidentally by our building and needs his commercial policy quoted to a guy he's never met before. I don't believe in coincidences. That's the law of the harvest. And that was taking place in my life. It was 500 out and more came back in. And so I always remind everyone, as you grow in like your financial, you grow in all these areas, just maintain humility, because you'll realize a lot of it came from a different source that's not your source. And sometimes a market economy can make you look better than you are. And quite frankly, for me in my life, God's been better to me than I actually am smart in business. And I feel like the opportunities have been my way. I've just been fortunate enough to see that it's a blessing from somewhere else, that's from God to me, versus I'm a genius. I thought of this idea and here we are. So remain humility, remain humble, but test yourself when you have no money. Going back to the point 360, test it now. Like test your faith now, give now, because you won't give when you have it later.
I mean, throughout the whole interview, you've mentioned gratitude and just being grateful that you have one franchisee like 1,000 times. And I think that is such a good way to live in order to have more success, more joy, more fulfillment, is that gratitude mindset and the humility. And maybe we'll get together on this too, because I try to convince him of my ways. I am a 1,000% believer in there is no such thing as a self. I mean, if you close your eyes and you pay attention to your thoughts, you don't even know what the hell you're going to think next. You can't control your thoughts. You can't control anything. If you have success, it's because you're dealt a good hand. That's my belief, like 1,000%. And if you don't have success, it's because you weren't dealt a good hand. There's no judgment against those people. But for the people that were dealt a better hand financially, maybe I'm a little more of a socialist, I guess. Like you talking about your in-laws, that they will never be retired and you want to do that. I think that that's what we should be doing, right? The people that have the drive, why are you driven to make more money and work harder and sell more? And I am driven that way, but other people don't receive the same amount of dopamine. We don't control any of that, right? So it's kind of be grateful for where you're at, the accomplishments that you have, realize that they're not your own. You got lucky, and then use that luck to bless the other people that aren't lazy. They just don't receive the same neurotransmitters in their brain for working hard, and therefore they don't have the same motivation as us. That's a belief that's really changed. And it's really, we don't have free will, but we can get into that another time. But it really brings me into a space of infinite amount of gratitude, grace, zero pride, zero judgment. Not that I live without judgment. Obviously, I don't practice my core beliefs every day at all times. No anger. It is really good to just live in that gratitude mindset and realize that there's other things affecting the way that we live. So I appreciate that you sharing.
100%.
I have one more question, but I need to ask you two more questions before we wrap. So one, I wanted to ask, losing your mom within 3 weeks. If you can dive in a little bit into that, and like, how was that on you emotionally, and how the hell did you get through it? And then I'll ask the final question after that.
Yeah. So the question you're saying, how did I get through it?
Yeah. How do you not? I mean, things happen. A death of a mom within 3 weeks. I mean, that could be debilitating, depression. I don't want to get out of bed. I have no motivation. Like, that crushes people, right? Yeah. How did you get through it? And how are you still here now and still motivated and you have the drive?
Yeah, I had, it started with, again, goes back to, and you're going to think, oh man, this is crazy. This guy's just full of gratitude. It started with, I was like, man, I called Mark. I said, my mom's got 2 weeks, 3 weeks to live tops. And it was awesome to see Mark say, I don't want you in the office. I don't want to see you here. And for 3 weeks, I was at my mom's bedside in the hospital. And then we ultimately got to bring her home. And I was with her the whole 3 weeks. And something that was amazing, I don't even know who told it to me. I was in the hospital and someone told me while I was there. I don't even know who to give thanks to, other than here was the message the person told me. With your mom's life being short, record every conversation you have with your mom. And so I have the voice app, and I legit recorded every single conversation that I had with my mom during those 3 weeks. So I get to listen to my mom often. And I was able to like focus and say, what do I want to hear from my mom when I'm having a hard day? And there's many, many times I'll be just driving in my truck and I'll just pull up something my mom said that I asked her and say, hey, Mom, what's your thoughts on this? And I get to hear her wisdom in what she says. How do you get through it? I got through it day by day, minute by minute, to be honest. There were days that were harder than others. And it rips your heart when a little, at the time, a little 3.5-year-old daughter, it was her everything. And my mom, this little 3.5-year-old, my 3.5-year-old, was her everything. And to see her not understand it one bit, like couldn't even understand or fathom what death means. And then when she lost her, to see this whole emotional like journey we've had to go with our 3.5-year-old, because she was so young to understand it, but yet such a significant person in her life that she's like, where's grandma? Like she keeps crying. There's days where a month will go by and then all of a sudden she'll say like, I just miss grandma. And she'll be like sobbing. How do we get through it? I don't think it's easy for anyone. And it could be worse. It could have been even someone even closer. It could have been my wife, right? But it wasn't. And so you have to look at the gratitude of what can it teach you on a philosophical level, for example. Specifically a practice that I do in the church I belong to, you partake of a sacrament. And there's a prayer specifically in there that says, remember him always. And I'm driving one day and I'm always listening to my mom for I was listening to it every day. I'd listen to something about my mom. And then I go and have the sacrament and I hear those words and I just start crying. And my wife looks over, she's like, are you okay? And I said, yeah, it really is something okay. And what I learned was, and again, for whatever one's belief is listening, I'm not here to convert you on anything as much as just one of my beliefs is I used to think I thought of Christ often. And then I had this reality. It's like, oh, do you think of Christ as often as you think of your mom? Like every day you're listening to your mom as you're in the truck. Do you do that with Christ? And I don't, to be completely honest. And so I just started crying. I'm like, I finally understand what it means to remember him always. And so there was this moment of gratitude. There was this moment of teaching. There was this moment of bringing me closer to God than I had in the past. And so I as hard as the loss is, I also have to take with it the grateful learning that has happened since my mom passed. And so I don't say they wash each other out. There's still hard days.
Right.
But I do try my best to just keep pushing forward and being the best version of myself to make her proud as well.
Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Again, if the answer was gratitude, but I think that's the answer, probably the life. You could, if you change your perspective, and my mom passed, but it now is bringing me closer to Christ, right? That's kind of what I heard you say. And you're focusing on the positive and then having gratitude for that. So amazing. Last question for you is, what is the legacy you want to leave behind? How does Cody want to be remembered?
I think legacy comes down to building an empire you don't have to retire from. So I hate the word retire. When people are like, I just want to retire. I'm like, what does retirement look like to you? And then sometimes they're like, oh man, I'll be on a beach and I'll be gone for 2 months. I'm like, for me, I'm like, shoot me in the head if that's my version of retirement. Like, there's no way. I've done Mexico all inclusive for 12 days and I can't wait to get home. Like, I'm like, this is awful. If I had to do this for 2 months, no way on this green earth am I doing that. Like, that's not my version of retirement. because I don't tie business to money. I tie it to, this is just an extension of myself to bless other people's lives. And if I lose that, like, what is life about? Like, I want to be a creator the rest of my life. I want to be able to create and quit consuming all the garbage that's out there, but like just create and just bless other people's lives. And our business is set up in a way that it does that. And so we've built it in a way that we don't ever have to retire from it. Legacy would be, furthermore, we try to bring our kids along in this all time. My son's right outside the door right now. I just got a text saying, hey, I'm right outside your door. I'm taking him to lunch. So we're taking him out of school and we're going to do a focused lunch with him today. I took my daughter down to Tampa. I spoke down in Tampa at a convention to about 300 people. Nothing big. And I got my daughter up on the stage and a mic, and she shared the Hofhine family motto. And she just stood up there at 13 years old and just delivered this flawlessly and her perspective behind it. And the crowd was just like,
I want to hear the family motto that you can share.
You know, I wish I knew it as good as my daughter. I would have to pull it up so I could read it, and I can definitely pull it up so you can hear it.
My brother has one, and all his kids all know it, and I just look up to that. So I need to do that for my whole family.
Oh, it's incredible. And she delivered it. So it's this. We are leaders trying to be like Jesus, who pray always, love deeply, forgive often, laugh every day, work hard, do our best, serve others, dream big, and spaz out. And at the end, she's all, and spaz out. And the whole audience just like erupted with laughter. It's like awesome. It was incredible. And so legacy to me is keeping them involved right now. Like me and you are climbing our Mount Everest. What a sad day it would be if we get to the top of our Mount Everest and realize we never brought our family along with us. And you're at this pinnacle of your life where you just accomplished something big. You see this great scenery, this great accomplishment, and you look back and there's no one there to enjoy it with you. I just won't do that. And so my joy is, how do we all right now, not Cody Hofhine, how does Cody, Wendy, Bentley, Kenley, Hayden, Harper, how do we all go up this Mount Everest together so that we get to enjoy this together? And I try to include my kids and my wife on everything I can so that this is not just a solo journey. This is a family journey. And I think legacy is very much tied to bringing them along right now. And that's the best thing we can do as entrepreneurs, is bring them along, because the world is, it's hard. Entrepreneurship is definitely an amazing journey. And I hope my kids take that journey. But if not, I hope they can think outside the box. So it's not just typical corporate America. And I don't mean to hash on that or go bad on that, as much as it's hard. It's hard for many to make it ends meet to go that route. And so I think that's the best thing I can do, is keep them uncomfortable and be along the journey on this Mount Everest climb.
Okay. Well, I love it. Cody, I appreciate your time. Appreciate all the insights and the stories that you shared with us. How do listeners connect with you? What's the best way?
Definitely reach out to me on Instagram. I hope there's some value I add. I know there's a lot of real estate based stuff, but I try to get on my stories and share my real life stuff on the stories, and occasionally post the things going on. So just Cody Hofhine, go look me up. Facebook, I'd say Instagram's my primary place where I connect. And then Facebook would be secondary. The rest, yes, I post on there, but it's not me posting. It is a team of people that post, because I do not want any access to Twitter, and I don't know what other ones I even have. I think it's not Snapchat. I think it's something. What's the other one?
TikTok.
What is it?
TikTok.
I have a TikTok account, and I don't even know what my login is. I know nothing. I don't even know how many posts have been on there, because it's done by someone else. So Instagram is your best chance to connect with me. DM me. I do respond to my DMs. I don't have a team do that. I physically do that. So that's the best way.
Sounds good. Cody, thank you so much.
Thank you, Bennett.